It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are here. Windows 10 21H2 is finally rolling out, but some really big news from Microsoft. They've announced it's only going to be once a year from now on. Hallelujah. The future of Windows on ARM, it might be a couple of years out. And then Edge. It's a nice browser. Why are they forcing us to use it? It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Episode 751. Recorded Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. Halle Berry Infinite. This episode of Windows Weekly is brought to you by PlexTrack, the powerful yet simple security management platform that helps you get the real cybersecurity work done. With PlexTrack, you'll streamline your assessments, analytics, and reporting. Visit plextrack.com/twit and claim your free month. And by Bandwidth. Bandwidth understands the challenges enterprises face when migrating their communications to the cloud. That's why Bandwidth launched Duet for Microsoft Teams, the only complete solution for direct routing and Microsoft-certified E911, available direct from a carrier, designed to simplify your migration to Teams direct routing. Request your proof of concept at bandwidth.com/ww. And by Privacy.com. Privacy lets you buy things online using virtual cards instead of having to use your real ones, protecting your financial identity on the internet. Right now, new customers will automatically get $5 to spend on their first purchase. Go to privacy.com/ww to sign up now. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we get together with Paul and Mary Jo and talk about Windows. Paul Thurrott, Thurrott.com, Mary Jo Foley, ZDNet.com. I think between the two of them, there ain't nothing they don't know. Thank goodness, because there's a lot I don't know. They're here, here to fill me.
It might be a little overreach.
It might.
You know, it's just I'm your hype man, as you say.
I like
as they say. Yeah. We were talking before the show about the Pixel 6 phone, and Mary Jo's actually actively thinking about returning it.
No, I'm keeping it. Paul was thinking of returning.
Paul is.
I set it up to return it because I was worried my time was going to run out, and I honestly wasn't. I mean, I still, honestly, on a day-to-day basis, I kind of go back and forth.
When you say your time isn't going to run out, you mean like this is it for you and the planet Earth, or what exactly do you mean by that?
Unless you know something I don't know. No, I mean, my window for returning it is
yeah, of course. You had, what is it, 2 weeks?
It's over. It's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm going to keep it, but begrudgingly. I mean, I have other phones that I have a Pixel 5a that is about half as fast as this thing, but I got to tell you, it's about 95% as good. The fingerprint reader works great. So I don't know. I mean, I think what I like about this is the photography stuff. The primary lens and the ultra-wide lens are like maybe a 10 or 15% improvement, but the telephoto kind of completes the package, as anyone who uses such a setup knows. It works really well, and the three of them together it's what I've wanted for 2-3 years now, is for Google to do that. But the charging is terrible. There's a lot of screen issues. I've had app stability issues, and of course, the fingerprint reader thing.
Boy, I haven't had any of those problems.
Wow.
And when you say charging is terrible, you mean it takes a whole 2 hours to charge it, which is a lot faster than phones used to be. I mean, I know it's not as fast as a OnePlus or something, but
yeah.
What would you trade it in for? Keep your 5A, or?
Well, that's the problem, Leo. It's like what's the lesser of two evils here? I mean, and honestly, in some ways, I feel like that's why I have kept it. Not because it's so good and I can't stand not to have it, but because the alternatives are not appealing to me.
Yeah.
I don't like Samsung phones, and God knows I've tried. I've spent so much money on that stuff.
You should consider an iPhone.
I am. What? No, I mean, I am. Well, because one of the things.
What are we talking about on this show?
One of the things you can do with an iPhone is just load it up with the software.
Get the gong, Mary Jo. Get the gong.
The iPhone. Anyway. What the heck?
Look,
are you still going to be a Microsoft reporter after this? Just wondering.
What's happening? I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Andy Anako uses an Android phone, so you can use an iPhone. It all
I
balances
have
out.
used an iPhone. There have been entire years where I used an iPhone. I've owned almost every iPhone ever made. But it's in recent years, it's been more of a secondary device and just to keep up on what Apple's doing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Would either of you ever consider the Surface Duo as a choice?
No.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I just returned.
Did you?
The
You
Duo
returned it
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm so glad I didn't buy it. I did buy it, but then I thought better of it before it was delivered.
Yeah.
And because I was going to get the Pixel 6, and I thought I don't need.
Yeah.
You know, I have the
It's
Samsung
not
Flip,
ready. It's not ready.
which I really like. Really like it. It's a nice phone. The
Yeah.
Pixel 6 and the iPhone 12. I didn't get the 13, and I don't miss that, by the way. No reason.
Yeah.
No reason to get the 13.
From a 12. Yeah, from a 12, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Anyway,
Here we are.
here we are.
I don't know. OnePlus 9 Pro, maybe. I have one of those. It works great.
You like it?
Yeah, I love
The
it.
camera's awfully good on the Pixel 6, though, right? Is there anything that
It
equals
is.
that?
Well, I mean, depending on
Xiaomi, maybe?
Well, I mean, the iPhone 13 might be the equivalent.
Yeah,
it's
probably-
better
it's
for
as good.
video, for sure.
Yeah, it's better in many ways, actually. Yeah.
The Samsungs, they're a little
pretty good.
too HDR for me, but
Yeah.
okay. I mean, they're good. It's good zoom. The OnePlus 9 Pro is in the game, but it's not better. It's a little less consistent. I think the best thing about the Pixel is what Mary Jo said. I'm sorry. Is just you kind of pick it up. You take a picture. It doesn't matter if it's dark, it's light, you're outside, it's cloudy.
It just
doesn't.
knows. Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it doesn't do like a faux photography thing like Samsung does, but you can. There'll be details in the clouds on a cloudy day where it just looks like gray, but it gives you a little bit of a, highlights and dark spaces that makes it look better.
Right.
It is consistent.
Now look at the picture I just put in the Discord. Okay, I'm answering Micah about something, and this picture I just put there is using the telephoto lens on the Google Pro.
That
Pixel 6 Pro.
telephoto's really kind of amazing.
This guy was suspended from a cable like way above me, way above me, and it was like. He looked like a dot, and I just used the telephoto, and I could see the guy, like the actual guy, his hands, him leaning out over the building. I'm like, yeah, it's tough to beat that camera.
And if I
Well, I will
zoom
say-
in, if I do some pixel peeping, that's pretty good. It's not.
It is.
It is good.
It's not perfect,
pixelated or
right?
smeary. No, it's pretty
No.
good.
No, it's good. It doesn't have
pretty
that
good.
watercolor effect.
Yeah.
My wife has an S20, not a 21 Ultra, and her zoom is actually a little bit better.
Yeah.
It also goes a lot further, and then it gets really muddy and terrible. But it's like we took side-by-side photos of the moon the other night, and my photos look great. Her photos look a little bit better. They're a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm just
Gotta
happy to
admit,
have
this-
it on.
This was zoomed all the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was standing on a roof deck and looking up, I saw a dot, and I aimed it and did the telephoto thing, and
Yeah.
this is what I saw.
Well, that actually, that's pretty amazing. Okay.
It is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow.
And I did nothing special, like no focus. I just went click, and that's the picture.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's really where it excels. I mean, if professional
Yeah.
photographers might want to play with pro modes and exposures and all this stuff, but most people just want to click and go. And if you're looking for consistency, I think Google does a great job.
None of that was
In the notes.
intended to
No,
be a
it's-
conversation.
That's okay.
No.
That's okay. That's okay.
But
This is the burning issue of the day.
we were talking about before the show, and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So, I think my daily driver is still the iPhone 12, but that's more because of iMessages. This is Apple really locks you in. If I could get iMessages on a Pixel, because the rest of my family's all using iPhones.
Oh God, just let iMessage interact with RCS or whatever. And
Right.
Please, Apple, please.
yeah, I mean, God
But
forbid.
it does keep people in the Apple. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, but you know what it also does is it irritates the other 50 whatever percent that use Android, because you get like Sandra liked and then like a quote of the previous thing, and or Sandra
frustrating.
highlighted or what, and it's like, guys, seriously. Like it's this.
I just block those people immediately.
All right, enough. This is neither Microsoft. This is Google. This is Apple. You're starting to sound like the other shows.
Wow.
You're starting to sound like This Week in Google, where we talk about Windows.
Let's get to the real meat.
Let's talk about Windows. Windows 10. I'm not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
No.
If anything, it's multiplying.
Yeah, it is multiplying, right? So yesterday, we got kind of a surprise announcement from Microsoft. We knew they were going to announce at some point in November 21 H2 is rolling out. Who cares about that? A few small features. But the more interesting thing yesterday was they gave us a glimpse of what's next for Windows 10, which they have been very steadfastly avoiding every time we've asked. Right? Like we were like, is 21H2 the last version of Windows 10? We have nothing more to say. Really? Okay, you're supporting Windows 10 until 2025. So I would guess there's going to be more feature updates. We can't comment on that. We can't possibly comment on that, right? Yesterday, they finally said, yes, next year, there will be one feature update because we're going to start moving to one feature update with Windows 10 annually, just like we are with Windows 11. Makes a lot of sense.
It took 7 years.
Transitioning. Yeah, it took 7 years.
7 years
to
of listening to complaining. We have finally told you to shut up.
Yes, yes. Based on customer feedback, we are now going to do an annual update. It's going to be in the second half of the year, just like Windows 11 is also. They also are going to change the support windows for Windows 10. They're not exactly the same as Windows 11. They're slightly shorter. 18 months for Home and Pro, 30 months for Enterprise and Education, which is like 6 months shorter roughly than the Windows 11 complements of that. But still awesome for people who don't want to do all these feature updates. I tried to get them to say whether every future update for Windows 10 would be an enablement package so that it would be like a small cumulative update, but they wouldn't go that far. They wouldn't comment on that.
By the way, I think that's just to protect themselves. There's no doubt that is
the model.
What's probably going to happen. Yeah, it works, and there's no expectation we're going to have these big features coming to Windows 10. Why on earth would they do such a thing?
No.
But you never know.
No one wants that, right?
No, but they may have to do something for some reason. They have to deliver it as more of a traditional feature update. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what we're going to see. Yeah,
so maybe we'll see before Windows 10 goes out of support, at least 2 feature updates, I would assume. Maybe there'll be 3. Hard to know. So yeah, it was good just to get some clarity finally after asking for months about like what's going to happen with Windows 10 because that's
this came up on Twitter recently, right? I think you were part of that. Someone asked, I've heard some chatter that this is going to be the last version of Windows 10, and I'm like, no one ever said that. There's no reason. There's no reason not to. You're going to deliver cumulative updates every month. Why not once a year, twice a year? And I think, honestly, looking at it logically, once a year makes the most sense. Yeah. Deliver the cumulative update of the year or whatever, and it matches to the Windows 11 thing. That makes sense. Right. Easy. So.
Yeah. So did they say, this is a good question, Jarno G, did they say there'd be only one feature update for this or one feature update per year for the rest of its life? I know, because that's a slight difference, right? I think they said one feature update, I believe.
Well, okay, there's 2 things they said. They're moving to an annual cadence, and there will be an update next year were the 2 things they kind of said. I think the first half of that suggests.
It suggests every year, right?
Yeah.
Does it mean Windows 11 will also get one feature update a year? Or no?
Yes, they're only getting one feature update a year.
So this is just the new way of being.
Yeah, I would say this explicitly says it's annual. So it says we are transitioning to a new cadence to align with Windows 11, targeting, there's the keyword, annual feature update releases. So, because you never know. And then blah, 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 renaming. The next feature update is slated for the second half of 2022. So yeah, the plan is annual, not just next year.
So the thing they used to call semi-annual channel now is called General Availability Channel, or GAC, because we need more acronyms. So yeah.
I like GAC.
We have a new
GAC.
It's a code name Build a Cat.
I think, though, I would say this is a yay, right? We don't.
It's a total yay.
Yeah,
so many
twice
people
a
in
year
my
cadence.
timeline were like, "Thank you."
It's terrible.
Yeah. By the way,
Do you
the
guys
final.
remember though? They were going to do 3 a year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's
when
right.
they first
Originally,
announced
yep.
this?
Yep. And this is
I know,
the final
it's
death
cool.
throw of Windows as a service, right? This is Microsoft will never come out and say, "Hey, that failed," but
No.
this is how you know they know it failed. You know, I mean, it took them long enough. Like I said, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and then did they say anything else that was interesting about this? There's a lot of information in the IT Pro blog post about this, about all the other things that they're trying to realign with Windows 11 and Windows 10. So they're changing a lot of like the endpoint management policies and support pieces. So everything is now in alignment with Windows 11, which is good.
Yeah, they added some, I don't remember the number, but I want to say it was in the 1,500 range.
Yeah.
Mobile device management policies. And I believe this was in an attempt to bring MDM management of Windows devices, in this case, up to speed with what's possible through group policy in Azure Active Directory and then through System Center or whatever.
Yes.
I'm surprised there's still such a gap there. Microsoft has been providing MDM management capabilities of Windows for at least 10 years, maybe more. Yeah, a long time. Anyway, so that's interesting in itself, I would say.
Yeah.
Moving to more of a modern and less monolithic management style for Windows PCs.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, so if you are still on Windows 10 and you want to get these 3 features that are basically what is Windows 10 21 H2, you can be a seeker. You can go look for it proactively, or you can get it through all the usual update mechanisms like WSUS and the Volume License Servicing Center and all those channels as of this week. So yeah, it's out there. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of excitement around it just because it wasn't supposed to be that exciting, right?
There's not a single notable end user feature in it.
No, there is not.
Which is fine.
And the one thing,
this is where we're at.
I know. The one thing people were kind of looking forward to, this new Windows Hello for Business deployment method that they call Cloud Trust. That didn't even make it into the product. That's going to be a separate update later at some later date. So that's not in the 21H2 update. Yeah. But what they're trying to do, and this is a good idea, is trying to get Windows 10 and Windows 11 more aligned. Like the other part of yesterday's announcement, we already kind of knew this, but it was a public acknowledgement that the store, the new updated store that has already been available for Windows 11 is now rolling out to Windows 10 also. So many of the things that they have in Windows 11 that they are willing and able to bring back to 10, they're starting to get those aligned. So yeah, all goodness, I think, on this one.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Wow, what do we
just
expect
happy
from Windows
we
10
finally
these
get an
days?
update.
Nothing.
Yeah,
I know. So many people were asking me an email on Twitter everywhere. Like, I'm trying to plan with my business, right? And I don't know, what are they doing with Windows 10? I said, it's not because we're not asking. I ask them like all the time to the point of annoyance.
No, they've been kind of weird about it, frankly.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't know and they were trying to decide. I don't know.
The simplest thing, like I said, you just do the annual thing, cumulative updates, no major new features. That's all anyone wants and all anyone expects. It's fine. Right? I
had so many funny reactions in my Twitter about it. One guy was like, "Praise Jesus, they're doing it." I'm like, "Yeah, they're doing it."
Okay,
Jesus had something to do with it.
Wow. Yeah. Praise.
Yeah, I mean,
praise
IT
Jesus.
pros just are like, I needed this to be fixed. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. Serious. No. Okay. Serious face. Okay. Serious face. Okay. Windows. That was Windows 10, although it was Windows 11 too, right? Let's talk about Windows 11. 11.
Yeah. So just as we started the show, they posted a new build because that's their new thing now, apparently. And I'm sure it's completely coincidental. There are new themes for the mobile keyboard, which are based on SwiftKey themes. If you're into that kind of thing, not particularly exciting. Somebody sent me a shot of this, I think, on Twitter, and now they mentioned it. I wasn't aware that this was a discussion before, but they have redesigned the Your Phone app, and that is part of this build. So I've seen a shot of it. I've not actually seen it, but that's kind of interesting. And I think that's it. And then of course they're not going to release a build next week because of Thanksgiving. And because it would have happened on Thanksgiving Eve, and we all know how huge that is here in the United States.
That's Black Wednesday, or is
Black Wednesday?
Is a deep gray, dark gray Wednesday?
Deep gray, deep gray Wednesday.
50% gray Wednesday.
Mauve Wednesday or something.
I asked my trainer, "Are we working out day before Thanksgiving, Wednesday?" He said, "No, I got to cook." So maybe it's maybe it's the cooking for Thanksgiving.
My gym would have given you a completely different reason answer to that question. They would have said, "Why? It's Wednesday. Of course we're working out."
Yeah, that's
in fact.
normal.
If you want to come in on Thursday, please do.
Thanksgiving we're open. Yeah. No, not mine. That's why I like him.
I need that kind of a guy. I need that trainer.
I'm cooking.
You can come in. I'm going to be cooking.
Yeah. I got to make myself. I have to make a German chocolate cake. So
Oh, nice.
That's for Michael's 19th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe go
not
red
a
velvet.
red velvet cake.
No, he likes the German chocolate. Although I have to say the recipe I have is excelente. It is very good. You would like it too. I like a red velvet.
I'm actually not a cake fan, but we just discussed red velvet, and then my wife got me a red velvet cake for my birthday, which is completely coincidental. But it had a what do you call it? A cream cheese frosting.
Oh, see, that's how it should. That's what it should have.
And I ate the whole cake.
Yeah,
I was like, normally that thing would have sat in the fridge and we would have thrown it out, but I put it over the
Does
top.
it help if it has coffee in it? Does that make it feel a little bit less
maybe
sinful? Yeah. Red velvet has a little coffee in it, I think. Right?
I just wanted to have some kind of red food dye that makes you look like you're bleeding internally. Something like that.
No, I believe it's red velvet because it has coffee in it, but I may be wrong. Did it have ermine frosting? Because I think that's what it's supposed to have is ermine.
No, it was. Well, to me it tasted like cream cheese. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I put it on a bagel. It was delicious.
Oh no! Never mind. Buttermilk, butter, cocoa, vinegar, and flour.
Oh right, vinegar.
Vinegar.
Right,
that's what makes it. Yeah. And beetroot or red food coloring can be used for the color, but
it should be if you're going to make it red.
It's got to be red. Red.
I won't eat anything that has beets in it, but red food dye is fine.
Doesn't like ice cream.
The reaction of the acidic vinegar and the buttermilk tends to better reveal the red anthocyanin in cocoa.
Oh, really?
And keeps the cake moist, light, and fluffy. And it's why it's a little red.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mixing any acidic ingredient with that would give you.
Now, you can't use Dutch processed chocolate because that prevents the color change of the anthocyanins. So you need to use a non-Dutched cocoa. You might want to tell Stephanie that. Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. Probably easier just to put red dye in it.
Exactly. You just use cow blood. It's
actually often use non-Dutched cocoa. That's my thing, man. Non-Dutched. Yeah. What else? Media player?
Yeah.
Did we talk about that?
No.
Do we care about that?
That was kind of a surprise. Right?
Yeah.
That was kind of a surprise this week.
Well, it leaked briefly in September. And looking at this thing, it's very clearly Groove, the app, the Groove app, rebranded, but with one little interesting caveat. It has video playback support as well. It's not just for music. Mm-hmm. So this is only for local files. So this is stuff you own that's on your computer or whatever you've downloaded. It's not for any music or videos that are from a service. But one of the things anyone in the Microsoft sphere should be wondering about is whether Microsoft is ever going to get rid of movies and TV, the app and service. And I've gotten questions about this in the past. Microsoft has never said anything about it. Why would they? I have a feeling if they were to get rid of it, they would offer you an out of some kind. Your content would be available on, Amazon or some other service or whatever. Of course, it connects to Movies Anywhere, so it's there. Yeah. And who knows, maybe with this video playback, if you have content, they would let you access it from there too. I don't know, but it's interesting to me. It's actually a media player, so movie and or video and audio, but it's it's fine. I always thought Groove was a nice looking app. It's as far as modern apps go and whatnot, it's good.
Yeah. So it's not the old media player come back from the dead. It's just
no. Although they mentioned that, and it's still in Windows. I don't know if you. Let me see if it's actually in Windows. I think you might have to. No, it's there. You can run. It's in Windows 7. Well, maybe that's because it was Windows 7. It looks like Windows 7. It looks like Windows Vista is what it looks like actually. It's because it has that old glass icon, literally with the orange triangle. That might be on my computer because I upgraded, but they said they would keep Windows Media Player, the legacy app, in the system. So if it's not there by default, you would just install it through that features control panel. But I also want to run it. That's goofy. It's like a little list. Jeez, Louise, this thing has not changed.
Oh yeah, it shows up as this little tiny box, right?
That's funny. It's light blue. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, it's got that fake glass background. It's terrible. Well, anyway, there's your basic 15-year-old software, which technically is actually about 20 years old from the first.
Still version. There.
Yep. It's Windows is an archaeological dig. Enjoy it.
Pretty much.
That's really true, actually.
You can find so many weird old.
Dig a little deeper, you'll find something older.
Dig out the cruft, and you've got vintage fossils.
Yeah.
All right, let me take a little break. It seems to be about a good time to do that, and encourage you to take a break yourself because, I don't know, it's going to be a long day. I don't know. Our show today brought to you by the purple teaming platform. I've talked about it before, PlexTrack. Now, if you're in the business of protecting your business online, you probably have had a little bit of frustration of late. Are you spending hours and hours reporting security issues? Feel like it's getting you nowhere? Are you buried in data, but still can't get a full picture of your security posture to prioritize remediation effort? That's what's bothering you, Bunky? Well, we've got the solution for you, PlexTrack. PlexTrack is so awesome. And now we've been talking about it for some time, and I've now heard from a number of people who've always used it and some new users who just love it. PlexTrack empowers continuous assessment, automated workflow, and effective collaboration between teams, particularly the red and blue team, to help cybersecurity professionals do more in less time. You can create assessment reports in half the time using their templates. It makes it very easy. You didn't get in this business to type reports, right? You could centralize your remediation effort across all your scans, all your assessments, all your audits, and you get these beautiful risk visualizations, which are extremely helpful, I think, in showing the top floor what's going on. You get scanner and ticketing integrations, enhanced analytics. All this helps you effectively communicate risks in real time. Not just to the blue team, but to the board and to the boss, and most importantly, the people who are setting your security budget. Whether you're red or blue, there's a PlexTrack for every security professional to save time and get the work done. Red teams can import findings from numerous scanners, almost all of them. Include screenshots of videos with auto formatting. You can create customized templates. You can export to Word with one click. You can streamline the report writing process so you'll deliver better reports and you'll do it faster with less effort. Blue teams love it because they can customize internal and external assessment questionnaires. They could synchronize their findings with task management tools, things like Jira Cloud. You can assign findings to team members and track status over time. And you can provide attestation of security posture with robust analytics. So whether you're a small to medium-sized security consultancy, a full-scale MSSP, or a large enterprise, security teams of all sizes and all specialties will work more effectively with PlexTrack. PlexTrack. TRAC, PlexTrack, the premier cybersecurity workflow management and reporting platform for every professional, from practitioners to CISOs. There's truly a PlexTrack for every security team. PlexTrack improves the entire security engagement lifecycle by making it easy to generate security reports, deliver them securely, and track the issues to completion straight from the platform. Look, just, you know what, do yourself a favor, book a demo today. You can try it free for 1 month, in fact, see how it can change your life as a security professional. Just go to plextrack.com/twit, claim that free month, get the demo if you want, plextrac.com/TWIT. We so thank PlexTrack for the work they do and for supporting Windows Weekly. And thank you, Windows Weekly listeners, for supporting us by using that address so they know you saw it here. plextrack.com/twit. All right, back on track. Mm-hmm. Let's talk Windows on ARM. I don't know. I want you to tell me what that means. Read the tea leaves. No 64-bit emulation on Windows 10 on ARM.
I don't think it means anything.
Really?
But yeah, I know it's going to be controversial in some circles.
It feels to me like they're saying, yeah, we're never going to fully support this platform.
On Windows 10.
Yeah.
Well, but
does it mean 11 will have it?
It does have it.
It does.
It already does.
Okay. Yeah. So it's, all right. Well, that's different.
Yeah. So
I misread it. I thought it meant all versions of Windows. Like,
that would be amazing. No.
That would be terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they started testing this feature almost exactly a year ago. I think it was early December. And it was in the dev channel, which at that time was Windows 10. Right. And so naturally, the assumption is we're going to get this capability in Windows 10. I do understand that. However, since then, the dev channel moved to Windows 11, taking this with it, and this capability didn't become public or stable or whatever until Windows 11 shipped. So the question, and this is like the topic we were discussing earlier. Microsoft's been kind of weirdly quiet about this, but as part of that same post where they talked about the release cadence for Windows 10 updates going forward, they mentioned that they're not going to backport, I guess, for lack of a better term, x64 emulation capabilities to Windows 10 on ARM. It's a Windows 11 on ARM feature. And I guess the support matrix for Windows 11 is a little different than it is on ARM compared to, say, AMD and Intel. The vast majority of existing chipsets in the market will upgrade to Windows 11, I think. I think that maybe the one exception might be the first gen one, which was terrible. It was a smartphone chip. And the reality is, if you're running Windows 10 on one of these computers, you're not running a powerhouse here, guys. So, it's not like there's some huge advantage to staying on Windows 10 on ARM, not going to Windows 11, and then expecting to get x64 support for some reason. Like, I think if you want that capability, you're going to want the newest chipsets you can get, which, frankly, are not very good anyway. And, you're going to want to run Windows 11 as well, right? So I don't know. I don't see this as a big deal.
No. Agree.
Okay.
We have some other stuff that we're going to talk about that is a big
Thanks
deal.
for talking me down. All right.
Yeah, this is not a big deal.
No, but you know what? I think this is a good time to say, because I feel like a lot of people have their hopes pinned on Windows on ARM. We're years from this being anything, if it ever is.
That's right.
Yeah, because Qualcomm announced they have a new SoC. They say we're going to compete with M1 next year, and I think there's
not next year, Leo. It's not next year. It's in 2023.
Oh, okay.
This is the problem. So, look, there's so many things in tech where you can say, like Google with the Pixel 6 series, with performance, like it's their first time doing an SoC. They don't have to beat the best that Qualcomm offers. They don't have to beat the best that Apple offers. They just have to be in the game. And they are. I think they've done it with the Tensor. But when you look at Windows and ARM, you make the same argument. It doesn't have to be exactly as fast as a U series. It doesn't have to. It's not even close. Like it's not in the ballpark.
Yeah.
And that won't happen now. We know it's going to be 2 years from now.
Right. And you see people every
that's
time there's a new Surface out, you see people saying, "Why isn't this on ARM?" Because Windows on ARM is terrible.
It's awful. Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah,
that's why.
Do you think it's just Apple envy that people are looking at what Apple's doing on over?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big part of it. But even before there was an M1, we've been talking about this for. we've been talking about this since Windows 8, but let's just talk in the Windows 10 timeframe.
Right.
What year was that when Terry Myerson stood on the stage in Hawaii and talked about this? 2015, 16 at the latest?
Yep.
Whenever it was, bringing Windows to ARM as a first-class citizen sounds great. At that time, as Terry Myerson said, AMD was circling the drain. They wanted there to be competition in the space, make sure these PCs could not just scale up to gaming PCs and workstations, but down to these really ultra mobile devices with no fans and silent performance and all that kind of stuff. And Windows is just, in the beginning, it was hard to know exactly who to blame. I think both Microsoft and Qualcomm had a lot of work to do. It's very clear looking at how this platform has advanced that Microsoft has done a lot more work to make it happen than, say, Qualcomm has. And Qualcomm had to buy a company called Nuvia. Just to give you an idea of the wall they ran into, they literally had to buy a company that makes PC type ARM-based chipsets that they are now transitioning to. So their old approach of taking mobile chipsets that are used in phones and tablets and adapting them lightly and then heavily to run Windows workloads has not worked out. It's just not working.
Right. No. You know where Windows on ARM, there's a lot happening, though we don't see this from a consumer standpoint, is on the server side, right? Like Microsoft runs Windows Server on ARM in its data centers, but it never talks about that, right? It just is like, we're doing work on that, blah, 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 right? But this is where I think they're investing a lot more time and energy, and they're probably going to have a lot more success in the near term than they are getting Windows to work well on ARM as a client operating system, right? It's just, I just get worried because I see people putting a lot of faith in this and wanting to believe, and it's like, it's just not ready. It's not.
It's not, and it's alarming how not ready it is, I guess.
Right.
Because they've kind of chipped away at the problems over time, but the big problem that remains, there's still more than one, but the biggest one is just x86 style performance, and so I don't know.
It's an Intel world. It's still a Wintel world, people.
Well, and with Alder Lake, maybe that's not so bad. I mean, Alder Lake's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
but that's literally that's the conversation whatever year that was, 2017 or whatever year, the conversation would have been, look, yes, they want Intel to have competition, but part of the rationale behind that is Microsoft want Intel to adapt their chips to the same type of architecture so they can run well on these low end or highly mobile, whatever computers. And Intel, I mean, God, they move slowly too, right? But they have new leadership now, and they're pushing a little harder. And if that's the end game, we're running Intel big little architecture in 3 years. Great, who cares? As long as we have that combination of what do you want to call it? Like watts per, what is it? Performance per watt or whatever the metric is that Apple always talks about. That's fine. Who cares? Who cares who makes the chips? I will say. It's too bad.
Yeah.
But if you like little pieces of ARM piece of crap, you can buy one.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I guess Microsoft's kind of at this point they're kind of stuck making it, even though.
Well, so here's what's interesting. Microsoft makes a Pro X Surface that has a second gen, what's it called, SQ whatever processor. That's basically just a lightly skinned version of a Qualcomm processor. HP, I think Lenovo and possibly Dell also sell PCs based on these things. This year they announced, this is bizarre to me, but if you follow the mobile phone space, we're on 888 and 8CX on the high end, and they have 7C on kind of the low end or mid-range, but everything on PC is low end. They actually released a new chip, a lower end chip for PCs for some reason. They were like, these things don't perform poorly enough. What else can we do? why don't you base one on a 700 series chip and see how terrible that is? And they did. And they had something called the 7C. And they've actually done 2 generations of that. There is a Samsung Galaxy Book Go, I think is the name of it. It's a 14-inch laptop that you can buy with this chipset in it for $350. Honestly, if you want something to test apps on, that's probably the best approach. But back in May, Qualcomm announced a Snapdragon Windows and ARM mini PC for developers. And the idea was, we're going to give you this little thing. It's like a puck. It looks like a Roku or an Apple TV or something. And it has this Snapdragon 7C processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of eMMC storage. We'll sell to developers for cheap. Well, it's available now, so you can buy that. And it's $220. You can get it through the Microsoft Store. I think given the pricing, it's pretty clear there will be just people who want this, because why not? It's cheap. But I will warn you, if you buy this thing, you can't return it. There is literally no returns. They're like, if you buy this, it's yours. So I bought one because, that's the type of thing I do. But I'll let you know how that goes. But honestly, if you're interested in this kind of thing, I think most people would be better off with that laptop, the Samsung laptop. But still, $220.
Isn't there another Qualcomm event coming up, like in Hawaii or something?
In Hawaii? Oh, are they actually going to go to Hawaii? Maybe. Yeah, they could be doing that.
No,
I mean, they had
I wonder if there's more. Is there more coming? Like more announcements around WOA?
See, this is the thing. So last year there was no announcement of anything new.
Right.
And the theory at the time was they were just buying Nuvia, and maybe they really didn't have much to say. Given how far out this Nuvia thing is now for to come to fruition, I mean, they'll probably have it anyway, because they have to announce the 989 or whatever they're calling the next one, for phones. But as far as like PC announcements, it's like, I don't know, what are they going to talk about?
Who knows, right? I know.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to say. Like we don't really have much to.
It's like we have in 2 years you might see this, right?
Well, the alternative is like, here's a chipset that is 10% better than the one we released 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They could do that, I guess. I mean, who cares? Like, I think
it's
they're going to
called
start
the Qualcomm Snapdragon Tech Summit.
Okay, and they're actually going to do it live in
Hawaii, I believe.
Hawaii, wow. Okay, good.
That makes me want to go.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. I agree with you, though. What do they have to say? Because when something's 2 years out, who knows what's going to happen in 2 years, right?
Right.
My God, 2 years. I mean, Intel and AMD could completely turn around with this kind of stuff.
So what is Microsoft doing in the server room then? They're just are they something special, or it's just
they're working with a lot of different ARM processor vendors and server vendors to see how can we best optimize for power using ARM in servers, because that's what you want to do in a data center, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right.
And I guess performance doesn't matter that much.
I mean,
it's a different kind of workload, right?
It is. It's a totally different kind of workload, and they've got a lot of this running in. Like if you do a search on careers at Microsoft and you search for ARM, a lot of the jobs that come up are in servers, right? That's where they're doing a lot of work with ARM.
Right.
But they never talk about it really. They've talked a little bit about it a couple times, just saying here are the partners we're working with, and they give you a list of companies, and we're doing some stuff, and that's all we're going to say.
Right. Right.
That's
I mean, like a human being having a laptop that displaces almost no heat and runs for 18 hours on a battery is whatever. Yeah. If you have like a server farm inside of a data center, and this thing is generating a lot less heat and a lot less electricity, that's a huge deal. So I think like whatever happens on the client, whatever, but ARM is secure. I think ARM is the future of the data center, just generally.
Right. I just looked this up. So in December last year, Bloomberg had a big story saying, by the way, Microsoft's working on designing its own ARM processors for data center servers. And Microsoft had already announced they were working with Qualcomm, Cavium, and a bunch of other companies in the Open Compute project. And some of that work is ARM and some is Intel, right? But so far, Windows Server only running on internal data centers. They haven't really made that like a publicly available SKU or anything, right? So.
This is the type of thing Microsoft used to talk about when Ignite was an in-person thing. It would be part of one of the keynotes. they used to talk about like programmable field arrays, and like they would get, they used to, every once in a while they would just, they would talk about these things they were making, the chipsets they were making for the data center, for the cloud or whatever.
Right.
I bet we, at some point, we'll hear more about this.
Me too.
Oh.
That's why we need to get Mark Rusinovich on Windows Weekly and make him
let's do it.
cough up the details.
Do you want? He won't come on.
No, he wants to come on, but if we say let's talk about ARM service,
he's animal.
We can't really do that.
Let's get him on though. Should I have Micah pursue him?
I can reach out to his. I can get his people to talk to your people.
Wait,
is he
Mark?
He's a birding dog.
Now let me reach out to them and get them to talk
Would you?
to Mike.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great because I would love to get Mark. We had him on Security Now many years ago. I think.
We had him on Windows Weekly a couple times.
Or maybe we did. Okay, maybe it was
Years
Windows
ago.
Weekly then. Okay,
Yeah.
It's been a while. Have we had him on since he went to Azure?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Okay. I want to take a little break if you don't mind.
Okay.
It's a little baby one. Just a little tiny weeny baby break, and then we'll come back.
You could forestall this rant as much as you want, Leo, but
I'm pushing it off. I'm ready to rant with you, to be honest with you.
I think we're all going to rant together.
We'll talk about it in a moment. But first, a word from Bandwidth. This show is clearly brought to you by Bandwidth. But I'm talking about Bandwidth with the uppercase B. Bandwidth is the original cloud-native carrier. And that's good for you if you're looking to migrate your Microsoft Teams to direct routing. You're going to love Bandwidth. Bandwidth even has a product, Bandwidth Duet, for Microsoft Teams. It's the only complete solution for direct routing and Microsoft certified E911 available direct from a carrier, and a cloud-native carrier at that, which means, they're going to have a highly reliable, highly secure nationwide network that offers the kinds of things a true cloud carrier can: failover control, call forwarding as a snap, real-time reroutes. I mean, they're in the cloud. So, and this is important because with Teams, you've got employees everywhere, right? In fact, an employee may start at her desk, maybe getting in the car, maybe moving home, maybe at a remote location. And that becomes a big issue with 911, E911. Let's talk about that a little bit, because Bandwidth really knows there are compliance requirements and just pure employee safety requirements, and they know you want to do it right, and that's where they shine. Well, they shine everywhere, but that's another way they shine. You will maintain compliance with complicated E911 regulations during your migration with Bandwidth Duet for Teams. Software-driven SIP. It's really going to simplify this move. Dynamic E911, industry-leading expertise. There's a federal regulation, Ray Baum's Act, that means enterprises have to give the emergency services what they call a dispatchable location. And that's not just your street address. That's floor, building, room number. And all of that's tough in an enterprise. And then add the fact that employees are moving around between campuses. Providing accurate location to public safety is challenging, but it is a requirement. But that's where Bandwidth is so good. They leverage their dynamic E911 for Teams solution to identify the location of a Teams-connected user at the time of an emergency call. And then Bandwidth natively routes the 911 call across their secure, highly reliable nationwide network and provides the caller's current location down to building number, floor, room number to help mitigate compliance concerns and enhance employee safety, because after all, that's the most important thing. There's some nice little features, too, I love. For instance, they offer a 933 number, so you don't have to call emergency services and burden them with a test saying, "Can you see where I am?" 933 will make it easy to verify that your location information is compliant. You get greater control and value by helping you decouple your telephony from Teams. You'll also save 40% compared to Microsoft calling plans. And because they're a cloud-native carrier, Bandwidth was practically built for this kind of thing. So many companies use Bandwidth. They're easier to work with. They've got great support. They have a reliable, robust network. Zoom uses Bandwidth, Genesys, RingCentral. Bandwidth makes it very easy to migrate to. You've got a partner in this migration, not just a provider. You'll have a dedicated onboarding specialist to help execute your project plans. There's a 24/7 knock. You get great expert support teams who understand what you're doing and can accelerate your migration. They'll be with you every step of the way. Little things like grouping your users into logical cohorts, location or department. That way you can schedule and trigger ports for these individual groups. But if there's a problem, seamlessly roll back. It's just little things like that that make a big difference. And Bandwidth's white glove service is second to none. 9.8 customer satisfaction rating out of 10. They are really there for you, uniquely positioned to help your enterprise migrate with less frustrations. And they understand all the regulatory requirements, and they're there to help and fulfill them. And by the way, not just Teams. If you're more than just a Teams shop, don't worry. Bandwidth can help simplify your telecom migration to the cloud with a bring your own carrier solution for Ring Central as well. They call it Duet for Ring Central. Check out Bandwidth's Duet for Teams and Duet for Ring Central to see how you can orchestrate your move to the cloud with flexibility and control. Request that proof of concept at bandwidth.com/WW. Bandwidth.com/dub. Please use that dub. That way they know you saw it on Windows Weekly. Thank you, Bandwidth, for supporting Paul and Mary Jo and the Windows Weekly show. Now, let's move to Rant Central USA. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. When I saw this, I said, uh-oh. Microsoft really wants you to use Edge. They really, really want you to use Edge.
They do.
Really, really want you to.
Yeah.
Who should begin? Should I give the rational explanation before we get into the rant?
Why don't you do that?
Okay.
I'll take a pill or something.
Yeah. have some cocktails while we're getting ready. Yeah. So we already knew Microsoft was making it harder for people to choose a browser other than Edge in Windows 11. It's not impossible, but do you remember they added all these steps that you had to switch a number of settings manually to switch away from Edge? Like you had to set HTTP. What else did you have to
really
set?
granular. Every file extension.
It's a bunch of
it's
documents.
Anything
document
you want to
types
open in a browser.
And protocols.
No normal person will understand this or ever do it.
No.
It'll be impossible, right? So then this week they took a further step. And there were a number of utilities like Edge Deflector and Search Deflector that were coming out that would help people more easily switch browsers away from Edge in Windows 11 if they wanted to. Now, Microsoft, in one of the recent Windows 11 test builds, has blocked them from doing this. So they actually actively stopped them from redirecting the Microsoft Edge links. This is by design. Microsoft's not going to relent. They said they consider this improperly redirecting away from Microsoft Edge. And if they do it again, we're going to do this again. And we're going to undo this. Yeah. So I said to them, I actually asked them for a statement. I said, so why are you making it harder for people to choose a browser other than Edge? Like, what's the thinking here? Just to get them on the record saying something, right? So they said their justification for this is it creates a bad end user experience because if you use something like the search and the taskbar and you are using something that redirects you away from Edge, you'll go to some broken links. So it's not an optimal user experience. No, what it really is Microsoft. What it really is Microsoft wanting to make sure you stay on Edge so that they can try to get you to also use Bing and MSN ads, which are now called Start, right? That's what this is about.
Very frustrating. Yeah.
So it's
isn't this what they got in trouble with the EU for way back when? You know, I mean, this is worse than browser bundling. This is browser forcing.
Right.
They claim you can change the browser.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're wrong.
You can.
They're lying.
It's just a lot of work.
No,
you
can't.
You can't even.
Can't.
No.
Here's so there's a little bit. It's worse than what Mary did. Everything you said is accurate, but it's worse. There's more to it, and it's worse.
Yeah.
So back in August, I looked at this new default app interface in Windows 11, which makes it really tedious. If you're in Windows 10 and you install Chrome or whatever browser you like, it will say, "Hey, do you want us to make this the default browser?" You say, "Yeah, I'm going to use this." You click the thing and it loads default apps, interface, and settings. A little dialog comes up and it says, hey, are you sure you don't want to use Edge? Edge is awesome. Please use Edge. You say, no, I really want to use Chrome. And they're like, okay. And then you never have to deal with it again. Mm-hmm. In Windows 11, there are two issues. One is when you say to Chrome, yes, I want to use you as the default, it still loads settings, but it goes to that new interface, which is what Mary Jo described with all of the document types and protocols. And you have to one by one, you do that little thing, that little, oh, please use Edge thing. Every frickin' time you have to go through it. But here's the thing. You've done it. Congratulations. You've made Chrome your default browser. Now you're browsing around, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you open the widgets interface, and there's a fun story about some nip slip thing, because that's all the articles are. And you're like, I want to see this story. And you click on it. It opens in Edge. It doesn't open in Chrome.
Oh.
There is absolutely no reason for that thing not to open in Edge. There's no reason whatsoever. You just go into a website, but it opens in Edge. And this is the reason Edge Deflector exists. There are a couple of instances where things in the OS would trigger not the default choice you made as the user, but a Microsoft browser.
And there's no extension that you can modify for things like that. That's not an extension.
Well, it's actually a protocol. Well, it's a URL handler.
It's a URL handler. Yeah. So you can't modify the URL handlers apparently.
Not as well. There's no UI. It's probably a registry key or something. I don't actually know how you would do it, because you can do it. So Mozilla figured out how to do it. Brian figured out how to do it. The guy who makes Edge Deflector figured out.
But they're going to bypass it.
They're going to intercept us.
Yeah.
So, and like Mary Jo said, the rationale here is that we want you to use Edge. We want you to use Bing. We want you to use MSN. And
is it a personal computer or is it a Microsoft computer?
Yeah.
This is incredibly annoying. It's why I don't use Windows, I'll be frank, because it's my computer and I want to be able to choose the browser. That's just one of many things, but that's important. You want to believe
that, look, in the realm of big tech, is Microsoft a better company than Google, Facebook, Apple, or Amazon? Yeah, but it's degrees of terribleness, really. And here's the difference for me, I guess, is in 1998 or 1999, whatever it was, 25 years ago-ish, when Microsoft first started getting into antitrust problems, Windows was the only way you were getting on the internet for the most part. It was all of personal computing. It was kind of a big deal. The problem I have with what they're doing now is most people don't think about Windows that much. And they think about iOS and Android and web apps and all this other stuff. And there's not a real lot of focus on this kind of thing. But here's the reality. If you're going to argue that iOS with or Apple with 1 billion users, or Google with whatever they have, 3 or 5 billion users, or the web with 5 billion users, or Facebook with a couple million, whatever they have, a couple billion users. If these things are monopolies, and I think they are, Windows has 1.5 billion users. So they're right up there. So there is absolutely no reason this shouldn't be looked at by regulators from around the world, the EU, the United States, South Korea, Russia, China, wherever you want to go. I don't care. This is user hostile and it's anti-competitive. There is no rational justification other than we're looking to eke every penny we can out of everyone who uses this product, and we don't care if we do it through malicious means. And it's just terrible.
Yeah, you got to figure they're sitting there looking at Google making a ton of money as an advertising company, right? Yep. And they're like, wait a minute, you know what? We barely have any share in this space. I mean, we do. They're making money with Microsoft advertising, right? But through Bing and the ads that are served on Microsoft Start, which used to be MSN News, but they could make a lot more if they could force more people to make Edge their browser and use Bing as their search engine. So there has to be a group of people in there going, how can we make people do this? Because then we can grow our percentage of the advertising business, and that'll be yet another one of our billion or multiple $billion-dollar businesses. If we can just figure out how not to let people switch, at least normal people, right? Normal users switch.
This is kind of an awkward thing, but when Terry Myerson was running Windows, one of the things we come to understand about this man is that he made a terrible deal with the devil, basically, where he was tasked with doing something terrible, and he did it. And that terrible thing was make Windows make sense in this cloud-first world that Microsoft is now. And that's where Windows as a service came from. It's where all the nonsense advertising, the explosion of advertising and crapware, the anti-privacy stuff that's in there, that's still in there and that no one talks about it anymore for some reason. It was all part of and his compensation was based on his success doing this. And it eventually kind of broke him, right? I mean, he's gone. Yeah. And then Windows went through a couple year period where there wasn't really anyone running Windows. It was just kind of hanging out there. It was in a department, obviously, but I mean, there was no direct representation of Windows, certainly not in the senior leadership team. So now, since last year, I guess we have a new person, the guy from Surface, Panos Panay, running Windows. And I guess, what my hope was, not that he's a better person or whatever, that he would somehow be able to overcome this corporate necessity for Windows to be terrible to people because it has to make sense as a product for Microsoft in this new scheme. And I think the sad reality is when you look at Windows 11 being rushed to market, when you look at the stuff they're doing in Edge, when you look at the stuff they're doing in Windows, it's just more of the same. It sucks. It's awful. And, this is the only part of Windows I care about, Microsoft that I care about rather. And I wish it was better. Really, really do. It's getting hard to separate the terribleness from the stuff that's good, because there is stuff that's good, right? There's stuff that's very good. But it's like the Pixel thing we were talking about earlier. It's like, I want to love this thing because this stuff is so awesome. But on the other side, you get the stuff that is so terrible. Yeah. And instead of it being this perfect thing that I can just love unreservedly and not worry about, it's like this constant worry that this thing is going to bite me, at some point. And it will. In the case of the Pixel, it does every single day. So I don't know. Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason I think they think they're not going to get called out by the authorities is whenever you say to them, well, you have a monopoly in desktop operating systems. They're like, no, you know what people look at now are operating systems. And if you look at us versus Android.
But it doesn't matter. People, regulators look at markets, and regulators can define markets however they want. And one of the ways you can define a market is desktop operating systems.
Yeah.
But
that's how they think about it now. I'm just trying to explain, like in the old days, they were worried about this, right? After they got slapped down by the authorities, right? Yep. But then they got emboldened because they were like, everybody else is putting a browser in their operating system, so we're going to do that too, right? And that's kind of where we're at now. So
you know what though? I don't know this for a fact, but I bet if you I don't know how the Mac works. I don't use a Mac. I don't care about the Mac, but I bet you could use Chrome as your default brauser and not have to worry about this kind of nonsense. No, you can. You can. And Google is one of the most terrible companies on earth. I can use Edge as my default browser. I mean, will I see Chrome? Yeah, actually, probably. I think the Google feed probably still uses Chrome. I'm sure there are little things like this, But this is not using a rendering engine. Like this is. I don't know. This is just as bad as anything those companies do. And it impacts an audience that's just as big, folks. It really does. Or it will eventually once Windows 11 is, on every computer.
Yeah.
I mean, Edge isn't a bad browser. It's a good browser.
It's not a bad browser.
It's a very good browser.
Right. It is.
So
we're going to get to that next, Leo, because it's getting worse. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, maybe that in their heads, that justifies it. Look, we're not making you, we're not giving you a worse experience. We're giving you a better experience. But I think choice is so important in an operating system.
Yeah, I do too. Like I'm using Edge as my main browser now on Windows 11, on Windows 10, and on my Pixel.
Because you have no choice.
No, but I on Windows 10, I do have a choice, right? Like Windows 10, you can use any browser you want on there,
Right.
But when they start doing this, it makes me say, you know what? I don't. Okay, now that you're forcing me, I don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Paul. Page 2.
Rant page 2.
Yeah. So that Edge thing that you were talking about. If you go back to the original premise of the Chromium-based version of Edge, there was a lot to like about the story, right? They were saying, look, everyone, Chrome is it. Chrome is the web. So we're going to take this Chrome thing. We're going to take out all the Google tracking and all the Google services, and we're going to give you this thin, light, awesome browser that runs great. We're going to contribute back. We're going to make Chrome better because of the stuff we're doing on Edge. And we're like, wow, this sounds awesome. This sounds great. You know, it takes them like a year and a half or whatever. They finally get this thing together. They release it on multiple platforms. We get it on Linux now. Multiple versions have come out. They have contributed back. It's been kind of nice. There's been a lot of talk from people who like the old Edge for some reason. I don't know what's up with those people, but they brought back some of the features from the old Edge. They've been doing that work. It's nice. But, you know, I don't know how far we are in now, 2-3 years, whatever. All of a sudden, Edge is a lot like Teams, isn't it? It started as a good idea, made a lot of sense. And man, have they really piled on the features. And some of them, look, there's no doubt that a lot of the features that are in Edge, we'll call them like the Edge unique features, would be beneficial to some people and that some people would like them. There's no doubt about that. But there's also something to be said for a web browser is a thing. And we have a method for adding functionality to browsers through extensions. And that maybe, just maybe, one of the best ways to do this is to ship the thinnest, lightest, quickest browser you can ship and in the product. And maybe the first time they launch the thing, you bring up a little menu of, hey, these are the additional features you can add if you want. And you're like, yeah, I would like an ad blocker, not that they would ever use that. Or I would like a grammar checker and a spelling check. That sounds awesome. I would like those shopping tools. I shop a lot online. That's fun. Yes, I will say yes to that as well. But it's your choice as the user to make those additions to the product. That's not what they do. They just add them in. And they add them in, and they add them in, and they add them in. And then time goes by, and all of a sudden we get this Teams bloat thing going on in Edge. And this week, they just announced, quietly, by the way, Brad told me about this. And I said, I don't understand. I didn't see this announcement anywhere. So I went to the Edge blog. It's not there. I went to the Edge developer blog. It's not there. I went to the Windows Experience blog. It's not there. It's because they hid it in this tech community blog thing that nobody knows about. And they're adding a buy now, pay later service to Edge. And the idea is people who can't afford anything can buy stuff and not pay for it until later. Right. And it's like, you know, okay. Like, I get that this is America today. I get that this is a thing that might be useful even to people who are financially prudent. I get that some people might want this. Do you really, it obviously it integrates with a third-party service because Microsoft doesn't have this kind of a service. Is this really what we want our web browser to be? A thing that lets people who can't afford things buy them anyway and then possibly have a difficult financial future because of it?
So,
I don't.
No,
that's not what I'm.
It's funny to bring it up like this, but this is where an organizational structure at Microsoft explains the strategy, right?
Oh boy.
So the teams So the teams that sit together in an organization called WebXT, it's Edge, MSN News, now called Microsoft Start, shopping, and ads. Okay, what are they adding to the browser? All those things that are in that group that they think, again, will help monetize Bing and their ads and their advertising business, right? It's sad, but this is why they're adding this in. It's because those teams sit together and their strategy is all about how can we get more people to use Bing and Microsoft News and our advertising platform. I'm telling you, this is why.
The people who are the worst individuals on this earth are the people who have to take information like that or information like the rationale behind the default apps in Windows 11 and then try to communicate it to people like you and I as some kind of a user benefit.
A positive.
That's almost literally the definition of insanity.
The one feature in the group of features we're talking about right now that I have found useful is the thing where when you're checking out somewhere, it'll say we've got a discount code for you or a coupon. And I've saved a lot of money doing that. So I'm like, I can't completely hate on these features, but all the rest of them I hate on.
But I that's fine. And I've certainly whatever. I get it. I've seen it. I don't know that I've actually successfully used it, but I've seen it. It's fine. But I would prefer that to be an extension.
It should totally be an extension.
Also, by the way, if you have some business imperative as Microsoft for this stuff to make sense, making it an extension means it's available in other browsers too. Right. So you could have it it's still an edge advantage. It comes, like I said, first run experience. Here's some offers. Here's some things you might want. You can supercharge your Edge browser with these things. People would turn that stuff on. You know,
I think they would too.
I think a lot of people see that shopping thing. I think people are going to see this buy now, pay later thing. Whatever the other features are, and I think the natural reaction is, okay, how do I turn this off?
Yeah.
And that's, by the way, yes, if I think a lot of the stuff you can turn off, I'm sure people will make this argument. And that's fine, but I would rather opt in, not have to opt out.
Yeah, agree.
And by the way, I assure you, when you go to a different browser, those features will be on again. They're not going to sync.
Right.
You know, a different computer or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got to wonder if the Edge engineering team is on board with all this stuff, because I feel like
they're making it worse.
I feel like when they first introduced Edge, the idea was, let's take Chromium, let's make it less annoying, less of a stalker kind of a browser, right? Let's do all these things that are going to make you want to use Edge instead of Chrome because we're not Google. And now they're adding back all this stuff there that you're like, wait, so you're adding in all these really like intrusive features that make me think that you're trying to be Google, right?
Well, somebody, early on, I remember having this conversation with somebody, probably in the comments of it was on the web somewhere, but probably in the comments to my site, where they said, you talk about this notion of Microsoft making a browser, removing all the Google stuff, but what you're not talking about is they're adding all the Microsoft stuff, Right. And I said, well, yeah, but of course they have to do that stuff. You have to have the Microsoft account integration where you can sign in with this thing that hopefully you trust and whatever, and you have passwords saved in there and autofill information for credit cards and whatever else. And like I said, I guess I trust Microsoft more than Google. I guess I'm starting to question that now, but that's reasonable to expect that from a Microsoft browser. It's fine. You have to replace some of that stuff.
Right.
But you're right. When Microsoft has something like the Microsoft editor, are we feeding Microsoft's AI engine by providing feedback on how well this thing works? Is that what we're really doing? Are we like little parts of the Microsoft matrix here? I mean, you could look at any of these features and be like, what's the real point of this? Is this designed to save me money, or is this designed to push me through Microsoft services on the web where they make money? Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. They're making a compelling case from Mozilla, I can tell you that. But I don't know. We'll get to that. I have a Mozilla thing that is not the Firefox web browser to talk about later.
Well, the good news is next month when Chris Capicella comes on, this will be a perfect topic to ask him about.
If I were Chris, I might not want to come on, actually.
Nope, he's coming on. His people have already talked to me.
It's a tough time.
Nice.
It's happening.
Good. Good.
No, but he's the chief marketing officer of Microsoft. I want to hear his reasoning about why they're
Chris,
doing
you
this,
have a month to get ready.
You do. Prepare your answers carefully.
Start working.
We're going to be polite. We love Chris, but there are some concerns here for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't tell him I like Linux.
I think he might have heard that.
He listens
somewhere.
to the show, Leo. I think he
There goes my Microsoft Christmas sweater again this year.
There you go. You're not getting one. Sorry.
Oh, man. Right. No, it is frustrating. Microsoft continually has an option to do well by favoring the user.
Yep.
They could be the white knight in all of this.
That's right.
Apple's trying to do it, but they could be better than Apple because they're not a walled garden. So
Microsoft, I made this argument when Apple started pushing privacy with the iPhone, and it's like what happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone, that kind of thing. It's good marketing. It's smart for them. And I made the case at the time, Microsoft needs to do this on the desktop with Windows. They could be that trusted partner, but you know what?
Such an opportunity.
Microsoft doesn't let you turn off the tracking in Windows. We've talked about it a lot. There's been a lot of theater going on and hand waving and blah, blah, blah. But here we are 7 years later. They still don't let you turn that off.
And I have to think the value to them of forcing Edge or of not letting you turn off tracking is de minimis compared to the value they could offer to customers to be
that is
the open,
an amazing word,
right choice. De minimis.
Yeah. And And yes, and if you care at all about the quality of data, and you actually want to learn something from the data you're collecting, you should understand that when you skew it this way, it's not as valuable.
Yeah, because people are lying to you. They're.
Yeah.
I know.
What is it? What is the mechanism? What is it that's going on? Is it the stock market's short-term look on quarterly results? Is it the stakeholders demanding some sort of returns? Is it some sort of? I think maybe it's just a paranoia in internally that takes a lot of courage to say we're not going to try to squeeze every penny out of every product. It takes a little courage and a little faith in your customers to say, you know what, we're gonna be the good company. But it seems such an obvious thing to do.
I would want Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Alphabet and Google, who I think is a great part. He seems like a great human being, but he stands up there and he talks about privacy and security and how they're protecting their users, and everyone knows this. I'm thinking to myself,
it's not credible.
Like, don't you understand what you sound like? Or Mark Zuckerberg's even worse. Like, this goon stands, everything comes out of his mouth. You're just like, do you not understand the impression you give to the world? He doesn't. And unfortunately, like someone like Satya Nadella, who seems to me a very credible engineer type person, I feel like, again, to the broader world, to Wall Street, which I think you're right is all that anyone really cares about there. They're not seeing this. This is some little tiny thing that we don't want to talk about. It's not. Windows is no longer the center of Microsoft. It no longer drives 50% or 33% of the revenues. It's some smaller percentage. It's not on the front line from a marketing perspective. Who cares? And I think there are 1.5 billion people that use this product.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Who cares is you're a Microsoft shareholder or the Microsoft board, and you're like, where can we make more money? You know where Google makes a lot of money? Advertising. We're not making that much money in advertising, but we could.
I hope it's
okay.
Let
me rephrase what you just said.
You're right.
You know how Google makes a lot of money? By being evil. If we were evil, we could make a lot more money too.
They don't see it as evil. I mean,
they don't see it as evil.
Nobody sees it as evil. The only people who see it, and it's not evil. It's just greedy, grasping. I honestly think you would do better as a company.
I do too.
If you didn't go after every last
use
dime.
Your products, exactly. You cheapen the product, and by cheapening the product, you create distrust with your customers, and it makes them look elsewhere. And you're already in a pretty precarious position, frankly, on the client with the way the world is going. Why would you not do everything you can to have the most stable, credible, transparent, perfect client operating system? Because you're trying to eke out a cent on some crappy ad or some stupid news stories in a widgets interface or.
Yeah, who thinks it's a good idea to have
no idea.
A game, Candy Crush, whatever the latest one is, soda, installed with your operating system? Who thinks that's a good idea? That's a terrible idea, and all it does is makes you look junky.
I like your optimism and
I know
belief in the goodness of human beings.
Guys,
you know what?
Breaking news.
Companies,
sorry, this is just in from the Microsoft widgets. Hold on, you got to hear this one. Halle Berry posts sultry new Instagram photo.
Thank God we can keep up on Halle Berry.
Months tailoring this thing not to show me stories like this.
No, it's never going to fix itself because they're a company. Their job is to maximize profits. It's not to be good.
Yeah. Good news, guys. Also, this just in. I just canceled out that whatever that source of that information was. They replaced it with new news. Back. Halle Berry takes the plunge in low-cut robe.
See, you cannot customize that. You can't.
Hold on, folks. I got rid of it. I got rid of that one too. There's another one. Superstar actress steps out in barely there black halter dress with dramatic front legs.
Is it Halle Berry?
No, it's not Halle Berry. But I finally got rid of Halle Berry.
Well, so this is what turns people into the Unabomber. And I'm not advocating violence in any way.
No, you're right. No,
but it's what makes people turn their back
crazy
on corporate America.
You're exactly right.
And you know what happened is Halle Berry's publicist decided, because I can tell you right now, Halle Berry's not an A-list celebrity. But Halle Berry's publicist decided, we got to get Halle Berry in front of people's eyes because she's great. I mean, she is fine.
How are we going to do it?
How are we going to do it? Yeah.
to do it in Windows 11.
It's all people. It's all money back here. I'll scratch your back. You scratch. And what it makes normal people feel like if they're paying attention, probably they're counting on nobody paying any attention. And just not thinking, I guess Halle Berry's big again because I'm getting all this Halle Berry content. But what makes people who are paying attention think is, there they go again. Yeah. You know, America's turned into a pile of crap. A nation everybody's trying to scramble to get their dime. Right. And it's just disappointing because you could do a better thing. And I think, honestly, I believe Satya Nadella would like to. I feel like Sundar Pichai, every time I see him, I feel like he's like being held hostage. He's like...
By the way, it's probably true of Satya Nadella as well. I mean,
he might be. Yeah.
One of the most powerful men in the world is victimized by this stuff as any individual user, because you are beholden to the will of shareholders in Wall Street, and you know what the technically right thing to do. You might even know what the ethically right thing to do is, and you can't. It's just not. That's not one of the options.
And if it makes you feel any better, Kev Brewer says it's the same in the UK. So
it is. It's the same.
It doesn't make me feel any better. Although I'd like to take this moment to announce my new influencer series on Instagram.
Excellent.
I want to see you in a low-cut robe, Mr. Paul Thurrott.
You bet.
A little nip slip from Paul Thurrott, ladies and gentlemen.
I found out what a Brazilian wax is last night.
Oh, God, no, stop.
Not good.
And, you know, I think I've tried with Twit to honor that. We're not trying to squeeze every penny out of everybody, and we try to give value for value. But, you know, I guess if you get to be a big publicly held company, it's just not an option anymore. I'm sure people don't start out saying, let me see how I can rip off the American public.
McDonald's didn't start out to make America fat.
No.
They were solving a problem, and they did a great job. I guess too good of a job.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, there's no doubt that. Yeah,
by the way, I love a Big Mac, but I think I've been I think I've been brainwashed into that. I don't think that would be a.
Well, now it's just comfort food.
It's comfort food. It is for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I just completely off topic because I think we need to relax and enjoy the ride.
Okay.
I have
We're
now
gonna play some calming white
customized.
Yeah.
No, I've customized this. Look how clean that is. You were right. I gave up on the Pixel launcher. I'm using the Action Launcher.
Action Launcher. Okay.
And now it's simple. I've got my widget panel here. I've got my app panel here. And this is what I like about Action Launcher. These aren't just icons. Oh, no. These are little icons that are actually hiding folders.
Oh.
So I can have all the stuff I want. And the icon, so like this is Pokemon Go, but it's a game folder. So all the games, if I slide down on it, this is all the Google stuff. So Action Launcher. And then, one more thing. I have additional docs. So I have, for instance, I can dial all these people. So it is, and look, I tap that, calendar, tap that, weather.
Well, hold on a second. Why would you want you to tap the calendar thing and launch calendar and then tap the weather and launch weather? That's crazy.
It was driving me nuts. So you guys actually kicked my butt and said, why am I being so lazy? Just customize the dang thing. Start using Action Launcher. And without, in a few minutes, I've been able to get it just exactly how I want it. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, you know what? You don't have to use the Pixel Launcher. Mary Jo, try Action Launcher or something like that.
Well, she's already using the Microsoft
Launcher.
Oh, you like the Microsoft Launcher?
Yeah.
You would, Mary Jo.
You would.
Like Microsoft ads.
Guys, I'm not seeing any ads. You know what? You know why? You know why I don't see any ads? Because I shut off all the stuff about news.
There you go.
MSN News.
That's it.
So I don't on my launcher. I don't see any ads on there.
But don't you want to know what Halle Berry is up to?
No.
I do desperately, and that's why when I go to widgets, I see Halle Berry news, also weather and some stock stuff. It's pretty much the three.
I'm just curious if she's got a new movie or something. Like, what's going on with Halle Berry?
No, it's just celebrity news. It's just...
Right. Yeah.
Well, look, here's all the articles about her. coming out. Yahoo, Halle Berry talks directing her first same-sex love scene and fighting with injuries. People.com, 4 hours ago, Halle Berry says she's a much better mother alongside Van Hunt than exes who didn't. Yahoo, 1 hour ago, Halle Berry shares how co-parent. So there is a Halle Berry push going on right now.
Yep.
Her publicist is very good, apparently, and is getting her out there.
Yep.
I mean, if this thing had some Frank Stallone news in it, maybe I would be interested. I don't know.
As mom of two with a busy career, Halle Berry certainly knows how to juggle plenty of things on her plate.
Okay.
Oh, yes, she's got a new movie. That's why. Bruised.
There we go.
It's called Bruised.
Yep.
I'm not going to see a 52-year-old woman in the ring getting bruised. I'm not. Just not my cup of tea.
Well, then you wouldn't like the widgets interface in Windows App.
No, you would not. You should turn that off
I'm sorry,
right away.
55 years old. The character is originally written for a 25-year-old woman, but Halle convinced Bruised producer Basil Iwanek it could be reimagined for her.
Reimagined. Right. I'm as my brother has texted me on my birthday's right before Halloween. He said, "Happy birthday. I would like you to dress up as a young person for Halloween."
That would be fun. Backward baseball cap.
Yeah.
I think you could do it.
Yeah, AC/DC t-shirt.
Skinny jeans. I think you could do it. Skateboard. Do we have anything else to talk about? Can we talk about something else?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Xbox.
Let's move from Halle Berry to
I'm
a
suggesting
developer topic.
Yeah.
we have
There's Project Reunion news in the news.
All right.
Yes.
Right. We should mention this at least.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So Project Reunion, known officially as the Windows App SDK, actually hit the 1.0 milestone yesterday. So we kind of thought this was going to happen when Microsoft had their big week of developer conferences, but no, it happened a little bit later. This is the thing that Kevin Gallo talked about to me a couple years ago when we were at Build, and I said to him, so like what's going on with UWP? It doesn't seem to be a success. And at the show, he outlined to me, we have this plan where we're going to bring Win32 and UWP together, and they didn't have the code name Project Reunion yet, but the goal was to make all apps just plain Windows apps and not have all these silos that they created back when they first launched UWP. So yesterday was the day. 1.0 release is out. This is the idea that you can have all kinds of apps use the same developer platform. It's not every feature is there yet, but they have a very active community on GitHub. They've got a roadmap and they've got plans already in the works for adding more features to this. So it's great to see them have met finally the 1.0 milestone and they're going forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Project Reunion.
Anyway, this is another example
for anything.
Yeah, I haven't looked.
Yeah.
So not for any of my official app versions because it wasn't available yet. But I'm going to look at it again. It just strikes me as a little too late. But in the same way that this Edge thing was really like announced via tech community blog, this release of Project with the Windows App SDK did not come from the Microsoft developer blogs. It's still not there. It was just I don't know where it was.
Kevin Gallo tweeted it. Tweeted it. That's
how about giving it 5 seconds? I know. I'm really surprised by how quietly this announcement was.
I was too.
Made.
Same. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. There we are.
All right. We put it off as long as we possibly can. It's time.
We saved the best for last.
Save the best for last. This is a great big pineapple upside down cake. And at the bottom, it's Xbox.
Rum.
Baby.
Rum. Yes. And also Xbox. Yeah. So to celebrate Mary Jo's birthday this week, by the way, happy birthday.
Oh, wow. Keeping it quiet, are we?
Yeah.
What day?
Yep, Monday. Monday was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
On the 20th anniversary of Xbox.
As Xbox, yes.
Right.
Wow. Also, the 50th anniversary of the Intel 4004, which started it all.
Yeah. I was traveling Monday, so I didn't have a chance to. I meant to write that up. That's right. You're right.
So Mary Jo, you weren't even born yet when the 4004
No,
was started.
Was not.
No.
4004 was a chip that looked like a bug that was bigger than most bugs.
Yeah.
And now most chips are so tiny you can't even really see
talked
them.
about it yesterday on Mac Break Weekly. It really is amazing. In 50 years, we've had something, I can't remember what the order of magnitude and speed is, but it's something like 300,000 times or something. It's amazing. Yeah.
I love the little feet on the thing, and you had to get it right into you'd get one off and it would bend, and
you could put it in. That's the point. Is you could do it yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
You want to see a picture, and you maybe can explain this. This is the Wall Street Journal. Well, you've been around almost as long. The chip that changed the world. Well, I got to log in. Hold on a second. Can't read the Wall Street Journal unless you give them their due.
A lot of money.
That's fine. I don't. This is the thing. I'm happy to pay for stuff. I'm not saying I want stuff for free.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't want to be taken advantage of.
Right. But in what section of the Wall Street Journal would you learn about Halle Berry's wardrobe?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's very light on Halle Berry content. Very disappointing.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Where's all the good Halle Berry news? Wall Street Journal.
Right.
So here's the picture.
I'm interested in what models think about stuff.
Tell me what you think.
Is there a section of the paper?
This is the 4004.
So what is that, like an ice cream sandwich?
It looks like wood. It
looks like wood.
Was it wood paneled? Do you remember that?
Oh my goodness.
No,
was
I
it a
don't remember
wood
that.
paneled chip?
Wow.
That can't
It looks
be
like
wood.
it.
It
does look like
It
it.
does, doesn't it? And you're right. It looks like a bug, Paul. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was the first general purpose microprocessor developed in 1969 for the Nippon Calculator Company. They wanted a calculator chip. And Federico Fagin, Ted Hoff, the guys at Intel said, what if we instead made a general purpose chip that you could program?
Right.
2,300 transistors. It had a clock speed of not gigahertz, not megahertz, 750 kilohertz.
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 Awesome.
Which
so
is
0.75 megahertz?
Yeah.
I guess?
Yeah, it's not even that's 92,000 operations a second. So if you just want to compare it with the Apple M1 Max processor, just to give you an idea, 50 years later. So from 2,300 transistors to 57 billion transistors, from 92,000 operations a second to 10.4 trillion floating point operations a second. It's a billion-fold increase in computer power in 50 years.
Did Bill Gates ever say you never needed more than a 4004 processor? Or was that something else?
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did somewhere.
He probably used those in his Trafo data products.
He probably did. Yeah, the 4004, which then led to the 8008, which led to the 8080, and then the 8086. And ironically, here we are 50 years later, still using that instruction set.
Right.
So there.
Yeah.
Well, that explains Steve Gibson's career in a nutshell. I mean,
Yeah. You know what? Who would have thought 50 years ago you learn x86 assembly lange?
like this is going to last. I've outlived COBOL.
This is still good. I can still write this.
Lisp or Ada has come and gone.
Yeah. Now, I still use Lisp. Fortran is still around. I don't know why anybody would use it, but so. Xbox time. That was a little digression. I'm sorry, a little rat hole.
Aside from celebrating Mary Jo's birthday for the 20th anniversary of the Xbox.
Happy birthday. All three. Yeah. Mine's coming up. That's great, Mary. Did you do anything for yourself? Anything fun?
I did. That picture I sent on the Discord, that was me hanging over no, it wasn't.
You parachuted from a high rise? Good.
I moved to New York City from its highest point.
No, but I did go up on that deck that's called The Edge in Hudson Yards. And it's this giant all-glass deck that looks out over the Hudson.
Is it
I wouldn't be able to walk. I would not be able to do it.
I love it. It's a little scary. You go right up to the edge, and it's open to the air, and there's just plexiglass blocking you from it. It was awesome. I loved it. I laid on the glass floor and had my picture taken way.
I was with.
I like Hudson Yards, actually. I think it looks
3 years
cool.
ago when we went to Paris, we went to some there's a couple of restaurants in the Eiffel Tower, and we were at one of them. So I'm walking around taking pictures, like you do. And my wife and daughter are standing there, and she's like, "Man, I can't believe you're doing that." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You walked right out on the middle of that glass thing." And I was like, "Oh God!" Like I fell out of the ground. Like I didn't even realize I was doing it. Like
I love that. I love
kind
heights. I'm big into heights. I love it.
Awful.
Well, happy birthday.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm glad Paul mentioned that because I would not have known. So thank you.
Thanks.
Paul, and happy birthday, Mary Jo.
Yeah.
Now the best gift of all, the Xbox.
A ton of Xboxes. Well, so they had Microsoft had a virtual event on Monday, right, in celebration of the event. So they announced a bunch of stuff, some of which is in this listing of news we have. The big one is Halo Infinite is coming out next month, I think on the 8th, if I remember correctly. But they released multiplayer for free for everyone on Monday. So you can anyone you have to download it, obviously, but you don't even have to own it. You can just go get it and play it. Yeah.
Yay.
That's really neat.
Free forever or just free for a week?
Just probably free for
till the 8th.
Till the 8th.
Great.
Oh, whatever. It's a good way to get people to test it.
Yeah.
That's fine. So that's fun. I went 0-8 in my first outing, so that was great. I'll never play that freaking game again. No, but anyway, it was fine. It's a good game. It looks beautiful. By the way,
just needed a little Halle Berry action, and
she
could have helped.
I think I need a little practice is what I need. All right, so that's one thing. This was separate to that. They announced this today, but Xbox Cloud Gaming, formerly xCloud, is now available in Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One, which is really cool. And I actually was playing this last night on a PC. And I have to say the latency or whatever you want to call that has gotten a lot better. And in fact, that's how I played Halo last night, was on my PC over Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Cloud streaming, I guess, really. So that's cool. And here's the fun bit, if I could just bring up my article, if it would ever come up. Xbox One, as you know, is the previous generation Xbox console. So there are certain games that are just not going to be ever available in that console. And some of them will be playable through Xbox Cloud Gaming, i.e. game streaming, on the older console. So it's a way to play next-gen games without having the next-gen console, which is convenient because you can't buy a next-gen console. So, for example, Recompile, the Medium, and Rift Breaker are all now available on Xbox One through Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and Xbox Cloud Streaming. And Flight Simulator is coming in early 2022. So that's cool.
Cool.
Yep. And then let's see, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and this is something I did not know, but apparently when Microsoft announced the Xbox Series X and S, one of the things they said, and I guess I kind of missed this, was with regards to backward compatibility, which is how Microsoft brings original generation Xbox games, Xbox 360 games forward to Xbox One and now Xbox Series X and S. They weren't actually ever going to bring any more games forward. They were just going to work to make sure all the games they already had worked well on the new consoles. And in fact, since then, they've actually made them even better, right? They run faster. They offer additional frame rates or whatever that kind of thing is. So that's cool. But as part of this announcement on Monday, they actually added 70 new games, like 70, not 70 new games to backward compatibility. So these are original OG Xbox and Xbox 360 games. And now they're saying, once again, this is probably going to be it. They're running into problems with licensing and just with technical issues where it's not really possible to bring those kind of games forward anymore. So hundreds and hundreds of games now available in backward compatibility. And they all work better if you have a new console. So that's really good. They also announced the Xbox Game Pass titles for the second half of November, because they do that twice a month now. The big one here to me is Dead Space, which is amazing. That's actually available now. This is the original Dead Space. And then I'm just looking at the list here. I mean, nothing that sticks out for me personally, but Evil Genius 2 is coming on November 30th. That's a good game. What else we got? They are adding an accessibility feature to the Microsoft Store on Xbox, not just on the console. This is something you're going to see across the Xbox app on PC and the Xbox Game Pass mobile app as well. But they're adding what they call accessibility tags. So you'll see a game listing and it'll be a blue tag. and it will say X number of accessibility features are available. When you click on that, it will tell you what those things are. And that could be anything for like not just having subtitles, but subtitles that you can actually scale to multiple sizes, narrated game menus, input remapping, full keyboard support, single stick gameplay, et cetera, et cetera. So they're just really making it nice to or easy to discover accessible games, which is cool. Xbox Design Lab, which is a way to customize Xbox controllers, had been put on pause when the new controllers came out with the new Xboxes last year. The service returned this past June, but it didn't actually offer all of the customization features that were available before. And I think this brings it up to speed. So you can get rubberized grips and metallic finishes now. Those were features they had before that weren't available yet on the new controllers, new color customization options. And then controller designs that are inspired by famous games. So you can kind of start with that and then take it, further if you want. So Elder Scrolls 5, Battlefield 2042, Forza Horizon 5, and Riders Republic. And then just today, and like literally right before we started the show, they announced the November update for the Xbox. And this is actually not just for consoles. Some of these apply to Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One, but also the Xbox mobile app and the controllers. And nothing, I wouldn't call it's anything humongous, but the color filter feature, which is an accessibility feature, helps people with color deficiency or color blindness better see colors that are visually close for them. You can customize the entire color palette, both in games and outside of games. Updated volume controls. There's new controller firmware. That's probably a big deal. If you're having an Xbox, you have a controller. Run that Xbox accessories app and check for updates. You'll have an update no matter what controller you have. And I guess that's the big one. So that's probably most of that. So yeah, there's most of it. That wasn't too bad.
Nice job.
Too bad.
You did miss the one story that the next year it's going to be the Halo Berry Infinite.
The Halle Berry inspired console design.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
For the ads, we have to show it from the back.
And thanks to the Discord, I know you saw this already, Mary Jo, but your birthday was also, we got one more thing. It was also the day the dry cell battery was patented. That is pathetic. That's from the Leo Laporte Tech Almanac. That's the best I could do. I guess I didn't know about you, so the dry cell battery was patented in 1887 on your birthday.
Good to know.
Yeah, long before your birthday. Let's take a break. When we come back of the book, the most important part of the show. All the good stuff. The tips, the code names, the beer. Our show today brought to you by Privacy.com. I'm a fan. In fact, I've been a customer since, I think it must be 4 or 5 years now, since they started. As soon as I found out about Privacy.com, I signed up. Privacy.com is a tool that makes it easy to manage your credit card purchases online. It actually generates unique credit cards that you can use anywhere online. Now, there's two different ways you can create a credit card. One is a burner that could be used once and is never to be used again. I like that for sketchy sites, for things you just don't want to get charged again for. But I actually almost always create merchant cards, which means that card can be used multiple times, but only by that merchant. You could set a limit, how much per charge or how much per month or per year. And any credit card you create at Privacy.com can be paused at any time. This is why whenever I subscribe to anything or any recurring payments, I always use a Privacy.com card because I don't want to be billed twice or accidentally upgraded to another service. You can set a spending limit so they can't overcharge you. I started using this after I had quit a gym. And they canceled my gym membership, but they used a little loophole to not cancel my trainer subscription. I said, but I'm not at the gym anymore. Well, you had to send us a written notice to cancel that. And after 4 months, I finally caught on. But by that time, it was too late. The credit card company said, no, it's too late. You can't get the money back. Not anymore. I just use Privacy. Privacy looks exactly like a regular credit card to anybody you're using. I think it is a regular credit card. I think it's a Visa. But here's what's cool about it. It isn't a charge card, so I don't want to build up a balance. That's expensive, as you know, with any credit card. It's, in effect, a debit card. You could tie it to a debit card or you could tie it to your bank account. It's really cool because, and this is a choice also, you can hide, it can always be from privacy, or it can actually say in the debit in your bank account, it could say who it's for. So I do that so I can, when I do my bank statements, I have all the information about who I paid. It's so great if you put it on a subscription or something you're not going to use anymore. You just pause your privacy card. No customer service hoops to jump through. Privacy just says, nope, they block the charges. Plus, you get a list of all the times the card's declined. That's good for two reasons. One, because it's satisfying to watch them try to get that money out of you. But two, if a card is, if somebody who's not that merchant, for instance, tries to use it, of course it'll be declined and you will see it. You'll see who was trying to use it. They'll notify you if you try to, if anyone tries to charge over the allotted amount. So you always stay within your budget. They have a great Chrome extension or Firefox extension. It works with Edge too. So it'll fill out your credit card information automatically with one click. They also have a very nice feature, and I use this. I use privacy to buy my mom dinner. Mom's 88. She cooked for me my whole childhood. She lives far away now in Rhode Island. As you know, I talk about her all the time. And I wanted to buy her dinner. So what I did is I created a privacy card. You could share it. She doesn't even have to have an account. Privacy lets you easily and safely send a friend, family member, or coworker a privacy card right from your desktop dashboard. It's not copying, pasting. It's not insecure text messaging. You just click the share button, enter an email address. Privacy handles the rest. It's totally secure. So I said, Mom, here's a card. Put this on DoorDash and have dinner on me. And she always asks before she uses it. I said, Mom, please just use it anytime. It's just a nice feeling to be able to buy her dinner. And she says, they're so big, I save it and I have it for lunch and breakfast and dinner the next day. You can also, now this has just been added, you can tag your cards, which makes it easy to sort. I need that because I use a credit card for everything now. So I have, I don't know, dozens of privacy cards. But with tags, you can actually sort them and order them and so forth. This is just the best way to protect your privacy and security online. Oh, let me tell you why it's privacy. When you sign up for something, they don't get your name or your address. You can make up a name. You can make up an address. I always use 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. And privacy approves it because they know it's you. The merchant doesn't get any details. It really is about privacy. They mask your bank information. So I just think this is the best way to use a credit card. Protect your financial identity online. These are virtual cards. Privacy.com/WW. Sign up for a new account, and you'll automatically get $5 to spend on your first purchase. Privacy.com/WW. Sign up today. I'm sorry, I can go on and on about this because I'm such a believer. Privacy.com/WW. It's the only, whenever I'm online, I use a privacy card. It's that easy. When I give family members, like my mom, a credit card, I use privacy. It's just the easiest way to do it. Now it's time for the back of the book, which means it's time for Paul Thurrott and his tip of the week. Paul?
This is kind of a self-serving tip, but Mary Jo and I... Yeah, why not?
Welcome to the world of crap.
Yeah. As part of my Instagram influencer. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I guess, Mary Jo and I appeared on Stephen Rose's Microsoft Teams podcast to do a Microsoft Ignite recap. And that is now available on YouTube for anyone to see. And the name of let me see if I can just find it. The channel to look for on YouTube is called Inside Microsoft Teams. No, it's not. It's actually it's right on the Microsoft 365 account. How fun is that? Wait until they hear this podcast. We'll be right off of there.
Exactly. Anyway, and never again.
Yep. Anywho, it's there now, so you can enjoy it for now. And then as far as app picks go, I actually have two. The first one is in some ways like that last ad that Leo did, in that it is a very useful service for protecting yourself against some of the more awful things that happen online often. And in this case, it is you sign up for a site, you sign up for a newsletter, you sign into a social media account or whatever it is, and now your email address is everywhere.
Yeah.
So there are different services that address this problem. I know Apple's added something like this to their, I don't know what it is, if it's iCloud Plus or whatever, but Firefox or Mozilla offers a service called Firefox Relay, which is free, and you get up to 5 email aliases you can use to sign up for these services, or you can pay them 99 cents a month, and that's an introductory rate. I don't know where it's going to go from there, and then you get your own subdomain with unlimited email aliases. And this is one of those goofy things, like my wife is not into technology, but I mentioned this to her and she's like, we need to do this. And I'm like, yes, we do.
Good.
The problem is our email addresses are out at
too late.
5,000 locations. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of over it, but it's a really good idea. So look into that. And then the second one, and this is, it's interesting how both these products are kind of like third-party things that like circumvent stuff in Windows or Microsoft, what Microsoft does. But 1Password is a very popular password manager. They now have a new version of the app that's available on Windows. Obviously, it's on mobile and everywhere else. It integrates with your browser through an extension. But 1Password 8, version 8, it looks like a major new version of this product. And I know a lot of people in the tech industry actually use this and recommend it. And I don't believe I've used it, and I think I'm going to take it.
I have. And in fact, they have, similar to this Firefox Relay, they have a private email system as well that works with my email provider, Fastmail. I don't know if it works with others, but Fastmail, I have my email domains there. Right. I can have an infinite number of random email addresses, and 1Password will save it. Okay. So, because that's, in a way, that's like, in addition to the privacy thing, it's like a second password. Instead of using your regular email and then the password, you use this special one-time only email and the password.
And you typically use this through the browser, I imagine?
Well, I don't use 1Password, but I do notice that 1Password can do this. I would imagine it's in the 1Password extension for the browser.
As well, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It looks
and I
good.
don't know if it works with more than Fastmail, but I did notice that Fastmail just turned that on. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Useful. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Enterprise Pick of the Week time with Mary Jo Foley.
Yep. So today at Microsoft, there was a huge reorg in their cloud organization. I don't usually talk about reorgs, but this one is very interesting because it tells you where they're putting a lot of emphasis going forward and what their priorities are in the cloud. And they created a new team called the Strategic Missions and Technology Team inside of Scott Guthrie's organization. And the person who's going to head this really high-profile team is Jason Zander. Jason Zander has been the head of Azure for years. He right now is executive vice president of Azure. They're going to put him in charge of this team. And here's what's in this team, which is super interesting. Azure Quantum, so Microsoft's work on quantum computing is there. Azure Space, so this is their work getting space organizations to use Azure on the ground and even in space. Azure for Operators, their telco platform, and the U.S. federal government business. So these big, giant businesses and evolving businesses, they took them all, mashed them together, made Strategic Missions and Technologies, and Jason Zander is the man in charge. So what happens now? So you take the guy who was in charge of Azure away. Who runs Azure? They're not replacing him, which is very interesting. And instead, they're elevating a bunch of other people who've kind of been at lower levels or different positions to create a new cloud organization. So a lot of these people aren't like household names, but still kind of interesting that they're not replacing him. There's not going to be a single head of Azure under Scott Gu. Instead, they're bringing a lot of the existing teams around Edge and Azure Core, all like kind of raising them up a level and making them all directly report to Scott Gu. So I was talking to somebody about this today, and they're like, Scott Guthrie has so many direct reports right now. It's crazy. Mark Russinovich is one of his direct reports. I don't know if he was before, but he is as of today. And there's just like a whole giant cast of characters who now report to Scott Guthrie. Zander and this new team is going to report straight to Satya Nadella, which is very interesting also. So yeah, I don't always talk about the inside baseball stuff on Windows Weekly, but I think it's very interesting to see where they're putting their money, in addition to trying to grow advertising, as we talked about earlier.
Hey, it's made of people.
It is. It is. Isn't it all?
Enterprise pick number dos.
Okay, so this is a true enterprise pick. This is for big companies. Several years ago, Microsoft launched this thing called the Microsoft Managed Desktop, MMD. That was like this super high-end white glove service where Microsoft actually kind of ran your IT organization for you. They handled your Windows updates. They handled your other kinds of Office updates and such. And they used all their expertise of running their own cloud to run your organization's IT department. I have no idea how many people bought that, but it was a very pricey, high-end kind of offering. At Ignite, there was this announcement, which I totally missed, that they introduced a tier below that. So they took the one that existed already, MMD. They're now calling that Microsoft Managed Desktop Plan 2, and they added a new Plan 1 underneath it. So it's less fancy, less pricey, but it's still Microsoft running all your Windows updating process, updating your Office apps, and using their expertise in running the Microsoft Cloud to help you run your cloud. The thing they're most pushing with this is we can help your organization move to Windows 11 with minimum time, effort, and cost. So that's where this is going. They're trying to help big companies who they want to migrate to Windows 11 with their migration. If you have to ask how much it costs, it's not for you, as they say about many things.
Is that expensive? Really?
It's a bespoke service.
Oh.
Yes, it's a bespoke service. That's a good way of looking at it. But it does exist now if we have very high-end enterprise listeners listening. And the way to find out more is go to Microsoft's tech community site, look for Microsoft Managed Desktop Plan 1. You can get into the preview now if you want to have Microsoft run your IT organization on your behalf.
Wow. That actually sounds cool. Don't worry, Russell.
Yeah.
I'm not even for a moment considering it, but that sounds pretty cool.
I am considering it.
I'm not. Stop it. Last thing I want to do is lose Russell. Oof.
No, you don't want to lose Russell. No.
And now, our beer pick of the week is a bit of a speedball.
It is.
Mary Jo
This
Foley.
was my birthday beer that I'm making the beer pick of the week.
This is a good birthday beer.
It was. It definitely was a speedball, though. I could not sleep after I drank this beer.
Yeah.
It's from Founders in Michigan. It's called KBS Espresso. So KBS is their bourbon barrel aged stout that Founders makes, very famous. This year, they created a version where they aged it in bourbon barrels, then took it out and aged it on espresso beans.
Even more coffee.
Ooh, man. Yeah. Like when you drink this, it tastes like you're drinking a cold brew coffee. That's what it tastes like.
I want this.
It's
I want to drink this
just
every day.
Coffee. It's like the strongest, most potent coffee. I had a sip of it and I'm like, you know what? I should probably save this for breakfast tomorrow. But then I was like, wait, it's 12%. No, I shouldn't do that tomorrow.
Do not start your day with this, but don't end your day with it either. So I don't know when you're supposed to drink it.
I know. So I drank quite a bit of it. And then I was like, I got to stop drinking this because I'm not going to sleep tonight. I can tell. It's like making my heart race.
Oh, wow. Do you think I can get this here? Is it in cans?
Yeah.
They should just
You
use.
can.
They should use decaf. What's wrong with these?
No.
people?
I know. They should use decaf.
No.
Yeah. It's around. You can find this around. It's not just something on the East Coast.
I want this
because
for
Founders
my
is in Michigan.
birthday. I'm staying up all night, baby.
It will make you stay up all night. It will.
You're going to be for different reasons. You're going to be so conflicted.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll be drunk
I know,
and wide
you're
awake.
drinking.
It's like putting a
bourbon.
humidifier and a dehumidifier in a room and letting them fight.
No, it's like people who drink Red Bull and vodka, right? You're like, wait,
Yeah, I
what are
don't
you
get
doing
it.
to
No, I
yourself?
don't get that. I know, but there's a market for it, obviously.
There is. So it was fun to drink and a delicious choice, but I was like, yeah, that was a lot of coffee.
Maybe I'll get this for
Wow.
Thanksgiving.
But yeah, that would be a
kinda
good Thanksgiving
fun.
beer, actually. It
Yeah.
would. 'Cause
If the
after all
turkey
your
doesn't get them,
turkey-
the beer
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's very delicious. I mean, if you like coffee, it's called an imperial coffee stout. So it's not just imperial beer, but also double the coffee too.
I have to see who's got this because I want it. That's great.
Yeah, you'll be able to find it. You will be able to find this for sure.
Perfect Thanksgiving beer.
It kind of would be. That's
Knock
a good
them out,
call.
then wake them up.
No, that's a good call. You want to stay up for another football game or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Just
That's
have
how you
a
just see
little-
3 football games.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good way to kick the end of this show off. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Mary Jo. I'm sorry we didn't celebrate it more,
That's all
but I
right.
would have baked a cake or something had I known. Red velvet even, who knows?
Exactly.
But Mary Jo Foley is at allaboutmicrosoft.com. That's where her ZDNet blog lives, and it is a great place to keep up on what's going on in the Redmond environs. Paul Thurrott's blog, really news site, is thurrott.com, THURROTT.com. The premium membership there gets you some really good extra articles. Paul's doing some fascinating stuff. You can also get his book, The Field Guide to Windows 10, at leanpub.com. They join together each Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC. That's when we record the show. You can watch us do it live at twit.tv/live. Chat with us live at irc.twit.tv. Or if you're a Club Twit member, in our Club Twit Discord. That's members only, but it's a lot of fun in there. In fact, you get some real benefits if you're not a member of Club Twit. Check it out. twit.tv/clubtwit. $7 a month gets you ad-free versions of the shows, access to the Discord server, the Twit Plus feed, which is stuff before and after shows, plus specials. Stacey Higginbotham's book club, for instance, coming up on Friday. That's club members only, so quickly go to twit.tv/clubtwit. And thank you, by the way, to all our Club Twit members, because they really have helped out. It's been a kind of a slow climb back from COVID, and the club has made a very, very big difference, so thank you. After the fact, everybody, for free, can get a copy of the show, if you don't mind the ads, at twit.tv/WW. There's also a YouTube channel dedicated to all of our shows, including Windows Weekly. I think it's twit.tv/Windows Weekly. No, I'm sorry, youtube.com/Windows Weekly, or maybe Windows Weekly Show.
It's just Windows Weekly.
Just Windows Weekly? Okay.
Yep.
That's the video, of course. We have video downloads as well. In fact, you could subscribe any podcast player and get the audio, or if the podcast player supports video, get video. If you do subscribe, you'll get it the minute it's available, so you don't have to think about it. But you could do us a little bit of a favor by leaving a nice 5-star review and tell the world how great Paul and Mary Jo are, because they are. Thank you, you two. Have a great week.
You.
Well, next show is the day before Thanksgiving. You still want to do one?
Eve.
Thanksgiving Eve. The
Do we
all-important.
have an option?
Well, you always have the option. you don't have to do this show.
We could do a cooking show, guys.
It'd be kind of fun.
Well,
We'll definitely talk about what we're doing for Thanksgiving. How about that?
For sure.
Because let's see. Yeah, I have to get up in the middle of the night to put my ham on, but that won't be till that night. That'll be Wednesday night. Yeah.
Put Your Ham On is a good podcast episode
Put
title.
your ham on there, baby. I think it's going to be Halle Berry Infinite, but I might be wrong. Anyway, thank you, Paul.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it
Mary
has
Jo. We'll see you next time on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.
Android is constantly evolving, and if you're part of the Android faithful, then you'll be just as excited about it as I am. I'm Jason Howell, host of All About Android, along with my co-hosts Florence Ion and Ron Richards, where every week we cover the news, we cover the hardware, and we cover the apps that are driving the Android ecosystem. Plus, we invite people who are writing about Android, talking about Android, and making Android onto the show. Every Tuesday at twit.tv, look for All About Android.